Okay, so yoga for stress management and caregivers. One of the most difficult topics for everybody, and I need everybody's input also. We'll see how we can present this to everybody, right? To the parents, to the caregivers, whether one size fits all. Do we can we have similar presentation and similar attitude to deal with both parents and caregivers, or we want to have there is a different equation? We also want to understand that to some extent. So now going to what is it that we want to look for in caregiving or in taking care of somebody, whether it's kids or parents or any dear one that is suffering. Balance. It is the balance. Can we say that my dear one is important and then compromise on my own health and take care of them in the best possible way? Or should I focus on myself more and let the dear one suffer a little bit? Which is the best? What is the right model? And we have this as a fight between husband and wife in many cases. If it is children, we always have issues with it, and one of the spouses will be much more protective and much more compromising on the self and giving more, whereas the other one will be slightly different. So there is always the parenting is a huge conflict of a area of conflict between parents, and of course even sometimes grandparents, whoever else is around, we have conflicts because everybody has their own view. So we want to understand what is the right model here. Balance is the key. That is balancing between the dear one and you. Balancing between caregiving, that is you no longer have a space at that point, versus your own personal space. And balance between loving and letting go. When we love, we want to do everything, but where is at what point, at which point do we let go? And then balance between self expectation and acceptance, very important here also. Self expectation, most of the times expectation is not from others, it's our own expectation about ourselves and our giving. And so that we have to balance, and balance between happiness and perfection. So when we say happiness and perfection, what does it mean? Perfection is what we all want to strive for, but does it cost us anything? That is what we want to contemplate. So I'm not going to give any answers here. I just want to talk and want you to talk. Okay? So let us discuss each one of these. The dear one versus you. In my view, it's about you. It is always about you. At all times, how much ever you are giving, it's about you. It's not about anybody else. So, what is a caregiving then? As boiled milk overflows, so should love and care be. That means, see, as soon as we enter a new home, what do? We boil the milk and we let it overflow. That is what life is all about. It's not about others. The pumped energy, the forced energy that we put when we don't have one, we are not doing it right. We are only forcing ourselves to do. Does that mean if I'm tired, I should always go back and go and sleep? And when the child is hungry, should I say, no, I take care of myself? No. We still push ourselves. I'm not talking physically here. Physically, we push ourselves because, many of the things, chores are chores, and it has to be done, it has to be done. When you're hungry, you have to get up and cook and eat sometimes, and you have to get up and cook and eat. You cannot say, I don't have time I don't have energy to go and cook and eat, so I will stay hungry. No, you have to get up and cook. So that's not what we are talking here. We are talking about, where is this love coming from? My love for my child, my love for my dear one, my love for my parents, where is it coming from? It's coming from you and your deep heart. and you're not even ready to look at your own heart, which is giving this is the source of everything, and you don't want to look at it. That is where we fail. We don't fail in giving, we fail in understanding the giving. And that is what I feel we should uh, look at. So fill yourself with love and care first, and it overflows anyway. So unless we do that, we are really spending a lot of energy, and then at times we shout, we yell, we scream. We'll come to that also. So personal space is your way of respecting the divine inside you, and that divine inside you is what is giving. So strategies for self-care and whatnot, which I'm not going to repeat because it's there. Okay, take time off, ask for help, take a long walk, take a long bath. Of course, saving water, saving in the mind. Even simple, I just turn on like teeny tiny bit and I stand there many a times. And massage, yoga, movie, book, sleep, and toilet. Even toilet space. We talked about that. Now I want to open it up for discussion. Any points you want to add regarding this in your life's examples? We would really want to tackle through examples. I'm not here to run this PowerPoint slide and go home. I want your life examples where you have dealt with such conflicts of your own self versus your dear one, and how you handled it, and when were you proud of it. Of having taken care of yourself first. That is, I mean, we want to really reward ourselves more than we want to reward our caregiving. We all are super caregivers, super parents. That is why we are here in this workshop, because we are in a stress. Because we are super caregivers, we are here. If we would have already taken care of our health and we say caregiving doesn't bother us, then we would not be here. And hence, I want you to reflect on your life and tell me, when you thought, was there a situation where you said enough?
Yeah, it was not very much a caregiving situation, but something similar. Because after a while, you want to give, but you really cannot give anymore. Without, and you start to see the effects of it on yourself, on your loved ones, ironically, for whom you're supposed to care. So at that point, you have to take a step back and reevaluate and come up with better strategies to do this, which will serve everybody's needs a little bit better.
Very nicely said. So I pushed myself to the limit where I really felt, okay, I cannot do this anymore. Let me reevaluate. Very good, very good. We all reach that point, and that's why this probably the presentation also has come from such an experience. That's when we realize we always have to make that little mistake. I'm saying little mistake because the bigger mistake you make, the less you have chance of coming back, or retracing will be harder and whatnot, because you would have hurt yourself, your health, so much more. Any more examples? Okay, so let's we'll still have ample time for all of us to contribute our examples. And okay, let's go the next one. Okay, this is most very important, life's pie chart. Here is my sample life pie chart. I really said sample here because everybody's pie chart is different. So in my sample pie chart of a productive lifespan, I'm not talking about babyhood. Then this equation doesn't even make sense. So in a productive lifespan, between say after you start earning to brahmacharya, not excluding brahmacharya, excluding later vanaprastha and all where you have retired, your productive lifespan, we always spend about 1/3 of our life pretty much resting. And then we have 15%, this at least mine, I spend about 15% for self-development, 10% for recreation, 45% for um, all the responsibility, whatever that responsibility is. And this is my lifespan. What about you? we want you to put your life pie chart. You can take a sample of a week's activity to put your pie chart and then see where you end up. Are you spending enough time to rest? Are you sleeping enough? We'll come to that also a little bit more. Are you spending okay? Maybe you are sleeping okay. What about your recreation? What kind of recreation are you doing? And then the most important is self development. Recreation, yes, we usually end up going to movie or going for a walk, something in a social circle. We are kind of taken to get some recreation. But what really I have put here is about 15 more than recreation. I have put this self development. How much are you? What is self development? For your own self, whether it is a practice of yoga practice, whether it is simply contemplating on what your passions are in life, whether your music, if you were a avid music player in the beginning, what are you doing to pursue your passion apart from the work and the responsibility and the kids and the other rest of the things? That is my question to you. Question: are you happy? Are you spending enough time in all these areas?
Some areas may be more than I should.
Some areas maybe more than I should. Okay.
Self-development, I think, is something to focus on.
Okay. Self development is something I should focus on. What about you?
I think the responsibility to self-development, to understand that the responsibility itself can become a self-development, because the responsibility is mostly we probably are doing because we are pushed to or we are compensated to. So, and at some point that responsibility becomes burden. So self-development has to be
Incorporated into response. Very good point. So I am what you are basically, we are asking individual questions here. So there is what you are saying is I'm incorporating my self development into my responsibility. Maybe this is a job that I am both enjoying and my passion also is to do the same thing. So then my self development is achieved there and I'm fine because I want to be a yoga teacher, and for me that is the passion, that's the only passion that I have, and I'm enjoying it. Perfectly fine. Very well aligned responsibility and passion. But many a times, many people, almost I would say 80%, do end up taking up a job just to bring bread on the table, and that's not their passion. So that is why this becomes an important one. But yes, very nice, very few lucky ones will get to do what they want to do. In that case, their self development is pretty much achieved. But at the same time, I would like to bring something more. Yes, my job I was doing when I was doing, let's say, working at Oracle, I was uh, quite interested. Security was a great field, and database security was what I wanted to do. But at the same time, how much time did I have to read on matters related to database security? The magazines, the articles, the to listen to the things and incorporate more and more. That aspect also is something to be considered for people. Again, we may be lucky few where we are actually pursuing everything, getting while we are even working because that's our entire field. But many won't have that opportunity. So I was feeling that when I was working at Oracle, that I'm not doing enough to update myself. I'm just I'm doing a fine work. I'm being praised everything, but internally I had not reached my potential yet. That was always there because the amount of uh, you know time you need to spend, for me it was also because I was pursuing these other things along with that. Maybe that's why. So it started becoming conflicting. So people do have this conflict plenty of times, and that's why it becomes hard. In a critical caregiver case scenario, it becomes even more harder because you absolutely don't have time for that when there is an autistic child or when there is some really critical situation which they have to manage along with their work and bread and earning and all that. It's almost impossible to the point. Then how do we handle that? So it's important to bring that awareness among people to understand what is it that they have to do. Okay, now going to the next aspect. Okay, we understood that where we are. That pie chart will tell us where we are. And can I change the scenario? Sometimes, yes. By just awareness, I can say, oh, yeah, I should spend a little more time on myself. Is good enough. Many a times, it's all about awareness. Because we are not aware, we are simply running like a rat race. But just with bit of awareness, we'll say, it's okay if my child is, a bit more watching TV. Fine. That will help me relax a little bit better. So sometimes we learn to let go like that. But if we cannot, let's say it's a critical caregiving and it's basically there is no way out of it. This is what my life is, and it's not chosen life. And there's nothing else beyond this for me to choose. Okay, fine. Like what she said, self development is about developing patience, about character, about many things that we can incorporate. I may not become, my dream was to be an artist, to be a musician, to play, violin and be best at it. But I have this child with whom I have to take care for life. Fine. Fill yourself with acceptance. This itself I want to do in such a way that my every string of my music is actually put into my child. Doesn't matter what. So that nimitta matram bhavasavya sachi. So you basically become an instrument of nature. The way things are happening, I'm only an instrument here. I let go and I will take it. Fine. My dream is no longer my dream. Somebody is dreaming for me and I will flow with it. That's another way of acceptance. Really, it is acceptance that is, lack of acceptance is the cause of a huge stress. And I want to give you some examples of that. But before that, so basically, there is no perfect life, not for me, not for them, the dear one. No matter how much you do, there is always something that you cannot. And there is always something that comes from the other side saying, whether it is your own child saying, Mom, you never did this for me, or your spouse whom you would have taken care of, whatever that could be, and they saying, you never did this for me, you never cooked for me, you never brought flowers for me, whatever that is. It will come. Even once in a while, there are these funny, taken for granted sentences, right? That happen. But when I have accepted and I am not doing for anybody, it is all about you. That's why I started with saying, is it about you or your dear one? It's always about me. It is about when I do, the reason I do is because I am filled with acceptance, I am filled with compassion, I am filled with love, and it is my own giving. It has nothing to do with who is receiving there. Then it becomes easy. It's very difficult to keep saying this, and we also shout, we also yell, because in situations, caregiving is not at all easy. But move on, move on, move on. Accept, accept. You're not perfect. Accept, accept, accept. And I said this to my mom. Now coming to the situation, my mom was, of course, last few months, broken leg and multiple surgeries and multiple complications, and throwing tantrums in the name of, oh, I'm giving a lot of trouble to you guys. And that itself is such a huge issue that we have to not only take care of her physical needs, but to take care of her mental needs, that she's dependent on us. So her depression was, we are dependent on you guys. Now where do you go from here? It's like, how complicated can that be? And I started shouting at her. And then she said, okay, this is how, see, that's why I don't want to be dependent, because I become a burden. Look, I'm a burden for you. That's why you're yelling at me. So, and imagine if you as a daughter, you do this, what happens to others, like son-in-law, daughter-in-law, whatever? They will feel even more bigger of a burden, and they will start saying things to me. I said, yeah, they will start saying things to you. So I'm not going to come and live with any of you guys. I'll be here. Okay, how will you take care of yourself? I don't know. Okay. I said, Look, we are going to yell at you. We are going to shout at you. Like we are going to shout at our children. We are not going to be perfect. We don't promise it. We are humans. We get tired. We get mad. We come home tired and you start throwing tantrums and we shout it. That's exactly how our children do, and we shout at them too. Does that mean we are bad parents? No. But that's the limitation we have. We are not perfect. Accept it. And you become the child. It's okay. The child doesn't run away and say, I want to get out of the house because you shouted at me. The child walks right back into mom's arms. Even after shouting, even after yelling, cross yelling. So that's who I want you to become. And we will not promise you that we won't shout at you, that we won't ill treat you. We might at times, but that's not our total intention. At times, we do. Are you okay with this? Unbelievably, she just saw such a beautiful, I want you to be that little child. And she said, yeah, now I get the point. So now you should stop thinking you are a burden. Whatever it is, we just have to all go through, and it's not you. Nimitta matram bhavasavyasachi. You are an instrument of something that has broken your leg. So something is running the show here, not me, not you. And then she was okay. So educate, teach your dear one that acceptance. Any examples from your side?
Actually, yours is a very common example. It happens a lot. I've heard a lot of people say the same thing. Parents don't accept it and they are in that condition where they can't be left alone. They do feel
Very
would
good.
like to be dependent.
Correct. Very good point. So I'm not alone, is what you're saying. Yes, that's where we are. They don't want to come here. They don't want to live here. This is true even among American children too. My manager was saying the same thing, that his mother lives some 2 hours from here, and 3 children. Every weekend, one of them go. 90 years old mom. They go, they fix the house, they do everything, put 7 days food in the fridge, everything they do, and they want her to come and live in the Bay Area so they can take care. She says, I'm not leaving this house until I die. By the woods or some river or something, her husband has built it, finished. This is hand-built home, I'm not going to leave. And every weekend I go, something is broken, and she subscribed for some random magazine, life subscription, some $1,000, something random. Life subscription for you, mom? You're 90. And she says, oh, they called me and it's very impressive because they target all these seniors. And I had to take away her credit card, everything. So this is a problem everywhere. And then positive who cares attitude. I like to say that who cares attitude, whether it is your children or whether it is yourself or whether it is the name and fame, whatever you are looking after. You just have to say, I've done my best. Who cares? And people always point at you. You should have done this way. Who cares, man? Everybody is wise. Yeah, correct. Everybody is wise and wiser. So the best thing is to say, take it or leave it. And my son came one day and, you know, why I hate yoga? I said, why? Because this is a yoga home, overdose. That's why I don't like yoga. I said, there will be a yoga home, there will be a Bollywood home, there will be a Hollywood home, there will be a relaxed home, there will be vacation Hawaii home, whatever. There will be some kind of a home, and this is one of those homes. That's it. There has to be some conditioning of some kind. Everybody gives, and we have given this. Whether you like it or not, that's what you get. And because I am a yoga mom, I also have given you some leeway here and there, which other homes may not have given. So there is always something positive, something not so great. Take it or leave it. And I'm not going to promise to be anything different. I am who I am. If you don't like, as soon as you're 18, find your life. Until then, be with me. So then he realized and he said, I really like the way you said, okay? Because these other parents, they always call their son for dinner on Saturday evenings. Many a times we want to hang out with him, but he has to hang out with his family. He cannot break that rule in the house. But in your case, you are giving me a little more leeway because you are yourself busy. They said, great, okay, so there is something good that comes with it. So doesn't mean that I'm condemning anybody here, but that's what it is. You get something, you will lose something. So do your best and leave the rest. And finally, modern world. We have a lot of conditioning here. Guilt, shame, and expectation. We have to be the best. Otherwise, the guilt sets in. And I heard somebody yesterday saying that my mom passed away. Just a few minutes before that, I was yelling at her because she was not taking care of her. She was doing this, she was doing that. And I yelled and shouted. I didn't know very next minute she would get an attack and die. And not, last 2 days, I just cannot excuse myself. I said, excuse, what do you mean? How many times have you yelled at your mother before that? How many times? So just because of this, she died? No. She did something to herself, caused stress, and this what happened. So we have a habit of blaming everybody. Everything has to be somebody's mistake. If something goes wrong, somebody has to be wrong about it. Why? This happens in our house every day also. Look, it fell. You who did this? It fell. That's it. It just fell. How did it fall? Yes, somebody. How can it fall? If it starts walking on its own. No, it doesn't walk on its own. Of course, it's an accident. Accident is caused by anybody. Unless it's such a regular accident by one person, then there is a problem and we have to address it. But if an accident happens, why do we have? No, I need to know who is doing this, who has done this rather. So this we have not only our own, we subject ourselves to guilt, shame, and self expectation. We also pass this on to our children. When we start doing this, our children catch it up, and that brings further stress to them. Whereas the way I have at least personally brought up is I went on saying this to my children. So my younger one especially now understands. Okay, I get it. I am who I am is a fine thing to say. So that is what I wanted to say. If you have anything to add, please do.
So, because like you say, guilt, shame, expectations, so much. And I don't know if it's more in this country or what, but it is so much. And then we are always trying to do things because they're expected of us, or others are doing it, or something like that. Or you do things for others, but it never satisfies anybody. So I'm in that process of finding what makes me happy really, and what I want to do with myself.
Very good. Very good point. So this country does it. It just is the more sophisticated we get, the more we develop this thing about guilt, shame, the type C, pleasing. We want to, look good in the eyes of everybody. Why? Why? Here, this is my sentence. Can I be a cool idiot and a commoner? I'm just a commoner. Many a times we get this all the time. So send me your CV, send me who are you in Yoga Bharati? That's it. That's it. Why do I have to be anything big? Why do I have to have like 4-page resume to call myself anything? This is how the world is constantly. Our LinkedIn profile has to start getting bigger, longer, and with so many awards, titles, everything.
Constantly they're evaluating.
Yeah, constant
Their
evaluation.
jobs.
And can we break that peer pressure?
Just look at the Facebook page.
Yeah.
Life is out there for you.
Yeah.
Just, yeah, इतनी party में इतनी, so little people.
Yeah.
Or
And
happy.
how big is your friend
I
circle?
don't see that closeness in the house. Everything is out there.
Yeah.
Your professional life is on LinkedIn. Your personal life is on Facebook.
Yeah.
You're on Twitter, Facebook.
So you have to have 150 friends or more, like 120 likes on your birthday party or some such thing. Everything is about that, about how famous you are. Anyway, okay. Now, caregiving and parenting. We'll go a little faster here. Prepare yourself to handle failures. It's okay if I'm not perfect. Avoid rat race. Accept and love the world as is. Be confident in imperfection. Gentle and firm. Always gentle and firm. No is a fine answer. To our children who are watching us, who are it's okay, it's okay, it's okay. So, Reshma, let him hang out. Don't worry about it. And then this is my very important, very nice slide. I love this slide, and I actually worked using this slide with my second one. My first one, I tried which one? I tried the red one actually. Luckily, I realized before it was like that. The second one, I was a better parent. I was more informed parent, and I used the blue one, and that is success can be slow. They don't have to be a far big achievers at the age of 8. It's okay for them to play. It's okay for them to be free. It's okay for them to be figuring out. It's okay to watch a little bit of TV. Again, not anything too much, but basically it's okay. Let them have their own time to figure out who they want to be. Those are the formation years when you push them into one class and next class and next class and next class and spelling bee, geography bee, this bee. It's just mind boggling. Where is the time for creativity? And when that happens, some girls at 16, we have had huge eating disorders, huge problems. We have seen 16 onwards PCODs, girls and boys, depression, whatnot, unbelievable, taking to drugs, every kind of dependency. Instead, the blue line seems fine. It will be slow. At this point, it seems like my child is at the point where, like, in the 10 years, 12 years, you will say, what? That red child is up there and my child is down here. What are we doing? We can never rewind the time and replay, unfortunately. So we have to be informed parents. Okay. And the role of a parent is to be a child yourself. The role of a caregiver, to be the suffering yourself. Then it will be easier for you. I have, in the last 1 year, the amount of caregiving trips I have done, the battle is enormous. The compassion is enormous. You don't know what to do. It's better to you yourself get sick and suffering is better than that empathy that we feel. We feel empathy and helpless because probably you can handle that problem better than your dear one is handling. So that's why it makes it very difficult for us. So then I took to educating, like what I was initially saying. Accept. This is life. Accept for myself, accept, educating them without expectation. The moment you educate, we also have expectation. Because we say, okay, accept, I told this to my mom, but next day she'll behave the same way. Then next day you counsel, the following day she will behave the same way. And then you get mad. No, my job is to say and get out of it, I'm doing it. And as far as the suffering is concerned, we all are going to go through that. So it's fine. Accept it. Accept it like you are them. So today, I keep saying only this. Today you, tomorrow me. It's the same journey. So please understand. We are going through it. Let's go through it together. Today you, tomorrow me. That is how I always say. I say it also, but I also mean it. Then it's not so bad. Because then, yes, it's there for all of us. So friendly patience. Patience in both cases. Nothing but patience. The worst problem we have with caregiving, parenting is one thing, but caregiving, there are times when you feel like the time never ends. That is that whole, there is no exit path. You are there, you are stuck. Whether it's autistic child or any such situation where you're stuck, it feels that's it. And when I went to India also, what am I running this? Am I here? Am I there? What happens? And I saw one of our dear friends, two parents, both of them alternately going to ICU for 1.5, 2 years almost. 4 years actually he gave caregiving. But of them, the last 1.5 years were almost pretty much 50-60% in ICU. And he had a business to run. He had put every penny dime into that business. And then that's it. 7 people, 8 people's salary. Just the money is like burning like anything, and he's here, stuck with parents. What do you do? I beautifully saw how he handled the whole thing. He just let go. He said, I fought it. And I used to say, what are you, why are you so relaxed? He'd say, I fought it, just like what you think. But it doesn't make any sense. I just let go. And happily sleep with them, happily relax, happily get up. Whenever possible, go to work. If not, fine. Go just sign the checks, come back for 1 month. I only go there to sign checks, give them checks, and then it's running like a museum. That's how, for 1.5 years. But then the amount of spiritual strength he got out of it, that is enough. You build a character for yourself, you can do anything after that. So time is not lost. At that time we feel like that because we are not with it. We are with something else. We are saying, okay, I have to go and do this thing, whereas this is stopping me. That is the reason for our stress. But if we are flowing with the time, with the process, even if it is autistic child for life, this is my life, and I'm going to carve out everything around this, and then the life is beautiful after that. So it's just about it's just about perspective and paradigm shift. If we are not there, if you're not flowing with the time, it's always stressful. Doesn't matter what it is. Even if it is simply sitting and cleaning some dishes, we are not happy. But if you're saying this is it and I don't know what else will happen, maybe 1,000 other responsibilities are there. If it happens, it happens. If it doesn't, what can you do? But when you're cleaning dishes, you are not thinking of something else. So if you're not really big time multitasking like that, I won't say multitasking. We always multitask a little bit here and there. That's not the point. It's about being with what you are doing. That is what. Slicing the time to the smallest. Let's say if you are cooking 4 dishes and you are putting masala to one and the other, that's all fine. But as long as you are with it, at moment by moment you are with it, you are still focused. And I have 1,000 windows here. I'll be working, I'll be totally fine. But I'm really moment to moment there. And somebody will be saying something and I say who, who and everything, but I'm not there at all. I'm absolutely not there. So that kind of focus will already be taking you there. So when you are removed from what you're doing and put into this caregiving situation for 2 years, 3 years, 5 years, 10 years, whatever, you just have to say, resign to it and say, that's it. Whatever comes, I take life one day at a time. Good enough. You'll be fine. And I saw this live with a caregiver that I totally worship because I never knew. And this came just before when I was going to go through this caregiving. And that path that he laid it for me, it made me feel so relaxed that for me, life itself is relaxed after that. Because parents were always there on the back of my head. How will I manage them? How they don't want to come here. So that kind of, then I realized what is causing stress. They living there is causing stress. No, it's me not willing to go and take care of them and leave all my responsibilities here is causing stress. It's not them. It's me. What will happen to house? What will happen to work? What will happen to all the stuff that we are doing here? The promises we have made here. That is the cause of the stress. And when we say, whatever happens, happens. And especially when children were small, I used to say, well, what happens if something happens to them? That is not children, but parents. Then am I taking care of child or parent? Fine. Whatever comes. When we say that, half stress is gone. Okay. So much of it is notional, is what I'm trying to say. Any examples? Anything you want to add? Okay. So now I like this, moving at the speed of creativity. So it says here, moving at the speed of creativity. So you're not really moving at the speed of light at which we are moving now, but whatever is our own creativity, where it takes us, let's just go there. Okay, now coming to why should you come to yoga classes and yoga bharati classes, what they are all after, what we are trying to do here. We teach you a skill in action, relaxation in action. So when you are relaxed while doing what you're doing, nothing matters. For example, this workshop, okay, we're doing so many of these, we have to quickly, right? How much did we break our head? No, just we flowed through it. But I have seen, even in Yoga Bharati, when there are events coming, the newer volunteers, how much stress there. Oh, we have to talk, we have to do something. What is happening? But as we get seasoned, we just manage somehow. We somehow develop some amount of intuition also. When something happens, it just is about developing the skill in action. Frankly, that's what gets you to relax and unlearn and then learn. Don't always. This is one example. This is one thing that I really uh, learned to follow, especially in the last few months. When somebody comes and talks, I used to jump and give a suggestion, whether it is my kids, whatever, right? From our perspective. Now I sit down and listen, and start. I say, okay, stop. When an urge to speak comes, I say, no, stop. Unlearn what you're learning. He's saying something. Look at it from his point of view, what he's trying to say. Now with my teenage children and youth children, enormously I'm changing and getting that other side of the perspective. Whether I agree, believe, nothing comes into picture. I'm simply becoming a newborn, like a child. I learn. That is the perspective. They develop a beginner's mind, is what they say. Once you do that, your children's problems, the teenage catching up with their changed lives, whether it's girlfriends, boyfriends, this, that, you will just accept it like this. Within minutes, you will handle the worst of situation, because the behavior that they come with and whatever you just suddenly discover, whether it's a Facebook or somewhere you do find what they have done. And as teenagers, sometimes it's just shocking. What? This is my son posting this, or being with this person, being with this, what is it, girlfriend? What is it? When you don't know. So the worst of such things you can just accept when you just say, wait, what would you do if you were there? This is the first question that I ask myself. If I was brought up in America and like this, who would I have been? Maybe that's what I would have done. So stop and unlearn and then learn. So worst of situations you can handle like this. Face reality and accept change. Do what you love, correct. But most important is love what you do. Very, very, very difficult, and half the Bay Area suffers because they don't love what they do. And in a recent survey, they found out, right? Some huge percentage of people do what they don't like. Why can't I learn to like what I'm anyway doing? That is hard, but if there is no other situation, that's what it should be. So yoga brings all these aspects: love and compassion, seeds of awareness. We put seeds of these awareness through our classes. And take home message: lifestyle change begins at home. So take yoga home. Understand the concepts, practice, and preach. Good habit is contagious. Family members will follow you. A simple Brahmari can change your family's perspective of life. You practicing Brahmari, or you telling your children to practice Brahmari. Keep it simple, life in general. And one important thing is, there are no rules. There is no rule book for life. You make one and suffer your own rules. So, overachievers, this is how we like to achieve. You cannot scale up perennially like this. So, set right expectations. Multitasking could cause stress. Working parents foster guilt and overparent. Don't do that. Listen. Most important is listen. We always like to speak before they even finish their sentence. Open your mind, not only to children, but to all your dear ones. There is something when your dear one behaves in the worst way, there is still something very genuine as a reason behind it. Without understanding that, don't react. I have done it enough myself. Not nobody's like what they say, cast the stone after for only non-sinners can cast the stone. I'm casting the stone here as a sinner. But at the same time, I have resolved myself to not do that. And I have improved over time. And we all can. Open your mind. And this is how you want your caregiving to be. You want most important for whether it's a child or whether it's a senior. You want happiness and contentment. Rest is secondary. Success, the perfection, whether I was able to save my mother from going through this or that, we don't know. We will be happy, and our smile brings smile on others, and that's all that matters. Rest is not ours. Nimitta matram, bhava sabyasachi. Okay? Thank you. Anything to add? Anything to say? Feel free to contribute.
I think this will be very useful for the
How do you-
parents here.
Huh?
This kind of
Parents
seminar or workshop will be very useful for parents here.
Yeah,
Because they
yeah.
are all overachievers and they want their kids to overachieve to tiger
parents and
moms.
for the parents also.